Wayside Chapel. I'm Ronald Long. I'm the middle school pastor for the 410 campus. And like most of you, I've become very aware of my house. I know every single inch of it now more than I ever thought I would. I know exactly where our home gym equipment is. It's all right behind me. I know exactly where every little flaw and crack in our molding is because we've just been stuck in the house for such a long time. And there's something else I've discovered about my house in this season, and it's that it has one particular area that is frightening. And I mean, this 8 foot stretch of hallway has to be the scariest place on earth. And not because of, it's not scary to me, but to my kids. They've told us that at night, when it's dark and they're alone, that room, that 8 foot long trek from their room to the bathroom is the scariest place in our house. And I know, like you've dealt with fear before. Maybe your fear had something to do with the season that you were in, not even particularly this one, but just a season of life where you've been in. I know there was a time in our lives when we were food insecure. We weren't sure where our next meal was going to come from. There was also a season of life where we weren't sure if one of our kids was going to make it because of her health. No matter what season you might be in, you know what fear is like. And you know what it's like to receive bad news. So many of us have received bad news over this season. But I want to take a moment and just stop and reflect on Psalms 112. It talks about the one who instead does not fear the circumstances going on around them, but instead fears the Lord. Psalms 112, verse 1 says, "Praise the Lord. How blessed is the man who fears the Lord, who greatly delights in his commandments. His descendants will be mighty on earth. The generation of the upright will be blessed. Wealth and riches are in his house, and his righteousness endures forever. Light arises in the darkness for the upright. He is gracious and compassionate and righteous. It's well with the man who's gracious and lends. He will maintain his cause in judgment, for he will never be shaken. The righteous will be remembered forever. He will not fear evil tidings. His heart is steadfast, trusting in the Lord. His heart is upheld. He will not fear, until he looks with satisfaction on his adversaries. He has given freely to the poor. His righteousness endures forever. His horn will be exalted in honor. The wicked will see it and be vexed. He will gnash his teeth and melt away. The desire of the wicked will perish." Now, it's interesting when you look at all this because it's all of these are saying things about this one person. And it's saying things like they're not going to be afraid when evil tidings come his way. His heart's going to be steadfast. It's going to stand firm. And it says that there's going to be light around him. Now, this is part of how we've accomplished the scariest room in our house. There's a hallway light. We just said, hey, until you become familiar with this 8 foot of path in the darkness, we'll just keep the light on so that when the light is on, your imagination won't go wild about all the what ifs and all the possibilities that might potentially happen. Because when it's dark, they've told us this, their minds just race and they think about all the things that could be there. We do the same thing, but we don't necessarily do it in the dark at night. We think about all the what ifs, what might possibly happen, what could go wrong, how things could possibly get worse than they are right now. The reality is, this man of God in Psalms 112 is all of these things. Someone who lends to the poor, someone who is upright, someone who is righteous, someone whose heart is steadfast, not because of who he is, but because this person fears the Lord. Verse 1, praise the Lord. How blessed is the man who fears the Lord, who greatly delights in his commandments. A challenge to you, Wayside family, is in this season and every season, trust in God. Don't fear bad news. Don't fear what could potentially happen, but instead give praise and honor to the one who controls every aspect of our lives. In fact, that's a song that I'd love for you guys to listen to and just reflect on. Talking about when we stand in the love of God, fear will not stand with us. It's my prayer and it's my hope for all of us in this season. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll hopefully see you very soon.